political big boys of Nigerian politics, President Muhammadu Buhari versus former President Obasanjo at war again. Does that portend danger for Nigerian politics? All this on Political Arena on Platform Media International. Good evening. Let me welcome you around the globe to Platform Media International. Tonight we're having a Political Arena, my very good friend, as usual guest on the show. We're going to examine the political tough war between President Muhammadu Buhari and former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And that has been going on, but it has come to the head in the recent week. So the guys who are in the studio with me on my left is Mr. Ebenezer Badewa. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And on my right, I have Mr. Obi Izalibe. Welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, guys, I guess you have heard that Obasanjo, former president of Nigeria, and President Muhammadu Buhari is at war. They are at war over who is going to control the political talk in Nigeria. More especially as the election is fast approaching. Nigerians decide in 2019 who is going to be the next president. But President Obasanjo is saying that Buhari doesn't qualify. Buhari is saying, well, you are not better than me when you were here. But I want to ask you, let me start with Obi. What does Obasanjo really want?
Obasanjo wants good leadership for Nigeria. Obasanjo desires our nation to be led by someone who would bring prestige to Nigeria. He has been an advocate of that kind of leadership ever since he came into the political life of Nigeria.
Mr. Badewa, let's follow up with that. Obi said Obasanjo desire good leadership for Nigeria. But some of us will ask Obasanjo, what do you have the moral scruples to begin to question all the leaders? You question Shehu
Yaradua.
President Yaradua. He even single-handedly defeated Jonathan, and he's at war with Buhari. So, does he have the moral scruples? Because Obasanjo was equally accused of corruption, not performance when he was at the helm.
Thank you for your observation. I don't think Obasanjo is talking about corruption here. He's talking about a leadership with vision for a country like Nigeria. Don't forget that you made mention of Yaradua. He personally campaigned for Yaradua to replace him in the expense of his own vice president, Alhaji Atiku. He also, when Yaradua died, he was one of the people too that also campaigned for Jonathan. Don't forget he made Jonathan the running mate of Yaradua. Mm-hmm. So when Jonathan started disappointing him, he voiced out. Now in the case of Buhari right now, he also supported Buhari when he backed down from, or when he rejected Jonathan. Now the point here is this. Obasanjo is not the only one right now that is saying Buhari is underperforming. All the big guys, all the political weight, Danjuma, Babangida, Obasanjo himself, even today Bakare, that was Buhari running mate in 2011, they are all disappointed. They try to advise him, but when he's not listening to advice, you see these people, they have to voice out.
Okay, Mr. Obi.
Yes.
You said Obasanjo wants good leadership for Nigeria. In all the head of states that came after him, Obasanjo seems to have had a hand in choosing them, in electing them. He campaigned for Yaradua. He campaigned for Jonathan. As a matter of fact, he canvassed for President Muhammadu Buhari. Yes. So when is Obasanjo now the conscience of the nation?
Now, Obasanjo is doing a job which the political parties cannot do. in a presidential system of government, you have the political party in power, you have the opposition. At this time, the PDP should have been in opposition, but they are not, and they cannot be. They became so corrupt that there is no single PDP politician who can voice opposition to this government without being charged with corruption. So we cannot allow that void to exist. Obasanjo is filling it up for Nigerians, and he's doing a great job of it. And he didn't start it with Buhari.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes. So if we go back to 1980 when he started the African Leadership Series, bringing African heads of state down to Otafam to talk about how they can provide good leadership. If you talk about the low-profile system of government he introduced while he was head of state, the Operation Feed the Nation, you will know that Obasanjo is someone who desires good, not just for Nigeria, but for the black man. The only one leader we've had in Nigeria that almost became a United Nations Secretary General. So he is morally qualified to talk about the problems of Nigeria. He wants Nigeria to be better than it is at this moment.
Now the question that people will ask, you had your time, what did you do?
Obasanjo, during the 8 years he was in power, did very well. Nigeria had almost been dismembered from the Committee of Nations as a result of what the military did. Obasanjo came, he brought Nigeria back to the Committee of Nations. He won respect for Nigeria. He assembled the best leadership team we've had in Nigeria. He brought people back from the United States of America to come and help, from the World Bank. Wherever there was a professional who was willing and ready to help in Nigeria, Obasanjo asked him to come. But the problems confronting Nigeria could not have been fixed in 8 years. But he laid a foundation, created an EFCC and took several initiatives to make sure that Nigeria is on the right path.
Okay, let me go back to you, because the question that people ask me on the street is, well, you had your time, 8 years. After 8 years, you had your hand in choosing Yadwa. Corruption, well, you did well. You jailed some governors, put some IGL police in jail. But again, there was so much allegations of corruption during his time. Of course, you remember the corruption, I can't remember the company now that is based in the United States. Halliburton. That has not been proven to today, but there was serious allegation to that effect that Obasanjo and his team had a hand in it. And again, Obasanjo also wanted to break the tradition, what they call the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, scheming for a third tenure. So that's why I asked you just Mr. Badewa whether he has a moral scruple, because you chose to break the Constitution that you sought to uphold. Now, what moral scruples do you have to be challenging your successors? And Buhari, who was voted under the platform of probity and equity, anti-corruption, so to say, is some people don't deny it. Buhari still has some followers, large following in Nigeria. So if Obasanjo is becoming, is at the other side of opposition, people will say, well, you have not really done well during your tenure.
But the question here is this: is Obasanjo, I haven't read in anywhere or here where Obasanjo is accusing Buhari of corruption right now.
Non-performance. Non-performance could be based, it could be broad-based.
Remember when Buhari was coming into office?
Yeah.
He promised within 3 months he will eradicate Boko Haram, right?
Yes.
He promised about economy, then the electricity in Nigeria, and even promised to construct road. Over and over, people that still travel to Nigeria, everybody still complain about, after 3 years, even Lagos-Ibadan Express Road that has been under construction before he came in, they still haven't completed, right? Now, the non-performance they are talking about,
it's all based on what?
On the whole process generally, everything is slow.
Buhari was on TV saying that what has been destroyed for over 16 years cannot be fixed. Just like you said, Mr. B, cannot be fixed within 4 years.
No. Well, we are not expecting Buhari to fix all Nigerian problems, but we want him to stop the killing of Nigerians by Fulani herdsmen, and the head of state can do that within the twinkling of an eye.
Okay, so is that the annoyance why the opposition is growing, just the insecurity, or based on other factors?
Well, his failure to provide leadership is that there is indiscipline within the rank and file of those who work under him. The agencies, the National Assembly, the Department of National Security, the DSS, they all seem to be at war with each other. There seems to be a vacuum at the topmost level of government.
Let me remind you again, I'm not an advocate of Buhari, but I'm just trying to ask questions so that we bring to the fore what issue. Remember, Buhari promised that he wants these institutions to work, not for him to enforce it. So, what is happening in the National Assembly now? Is that the fault of Buhari that Dino Malai and all the senators are what we call Alawada presentation at the National Assembly? Is that the fault of Buhari, of Buhari?
Yes.
It is.
Yes. There were lapses after the conclusion of the election that allowed Saraki to team up with his PDP counterparts to seize the leadership of the National Assembly. So right from the word go, the problems we are having now, were evident. People who win elections would have thought about the act of governance before they won the election. They come prepared. Buhari and his team were not prepared, and it is the results that we are seeing.
That led to
this fracas, yes.
Overnight taking over the.
Yes, a responsible government would have thought about the Senate presidency, the Speaker of the National Assembly. These things would have been worked out
long time
before the elections are announced.
Okay, Obasanjo has been. Remember, one of the professors wrote about him in 1988 that he's the Gentile of African politics, of Nigerian politics. Gentile is one of the very powerful defenders in Italian nationality that destroy attackers. Now, every head of state Obasanjo gives a very bad tackle. He tackled Obasanjo, he tackled Bangida, he tackled Yaradua, he tackled Jonathan, Anna Buhari. Do you think Buhari will survive this? Because he said he's going to form an alternative political party, which seems to be gaining ground. Do you think he will survive it?
Are you talking about Buhari or talking about Obasanjo?
Do you think Buhari will survive Obasanjo onslaught?
It's possible. It's not even Obasanjo onslaught now. Even
because Obasanjo is leading it.
No. Even within the APC.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a party where they have parallel Congress election.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Does that portend indiscipline?
Oh, sure. And not only that, this is remember in 2016 or thereabout, the wife of a sitting president criticized even her husband, the way he's handling the affair of the country, that the people that are working for him, he doesn't know them. He's not the one that is even appointing them. That the people that actually work with him from day one, none of them is in the corridor of power right now.
That brings me to another question. Do you think the idea is for the institution to take care of itself, or Buhari is systematically weak?
I think it's both. Buhari is weak, he is old, he doesn't have a grip on the political structure of the APC. But what worries me is not his weakness. What worries me is the absence of a viable alternative. And so Buhari is likely to win the elections. Why do I say that?
No viable alternative.
Now, PDP cannot. It will be very difficult for PDP to field a presidential candidate.
Why?
Who cannot be attacked or charged with corruption. If you borrow a frame of reference from what happened with the appointment of, or the election of Uche Secondus as chairman of PDP and his inclusion in the list of corrupt Nigerians, which destroyed his credibility. Now, tell me what is likely to. Have you thought about any PDP candidate who can stand tall and erect.
I'm understanding that somebody like Saraki and Duke of the former governor of Cross River State might be an alternative.
Oh, well, their corruption charges are now being compiled by the EFCC.
So later be unearthed.
Will be unearthed to destroy their credibility. So without that viable alternative from the PDP, we would have one presidential candidate. But because we do not see Obasanjo's arrangement coming to fruition, it requires money. It requires tons of money to organize political parties in Nigeria. And Obasanjo and his team doesn't have that money. So right now we are left with one evil, the evil of APC.
But if we might let us not just conclude that there is no viable alternative that will come out, because there are a lot of people campaigning, doing.
He's saying it's not that we don't have the personality. He's saying this means, right?
No, not even from Obasanjo now. Even the PDP we are talking about, or any other new political party out there, at the time of Jonathan, people were fed up with Jonathan. With the rate of killing in Nigeria right now, it's affecting everybody. I was listening to a program, even from Edo State, where the people were, I think, I've forgotten the name of the Udo or something like that in Edo State. These people were crying that they can't go to farm, they can't do anything.
That's what Obi just said. That there's an outcry for a change, but we will prepare that change.
But when the time comes, people might say, you know what? Whether this person has corruption or no corruption, we are going. Look at what happened in the US. You understand? Have you ever seen an elected president who has not paid a tax and they still elected him?
Protest danger, Mr. Badewa. That in the absence of credible alternative, then we will say, okay, anything.
But Buhari.
That's what led us to Buhari. Anything but Jonathan.
Yes.
You see, we are back to square one. So Nigeria is in a peculiar mess.
Sir, yes. Our democracy is still very young. We have to experiment before we get the right person. Apart from the immigrant in the US, a lot of Americans are proud of their country all over again because they have a president that is fighting for their own interests. Right?
I refuse to agree with that analysis. People are proud.
Of course. They're proud of their country. No, I'm not saying they are president. They are proud of their country today because they have a president fighting for their interests.
In 2015, Buhari was a viable alternative to Jonathan. He had been in 3 or 4 elections and he had continuously won about 12 million votes. And so he had garnered massive support. At this time, we don't have someone like him who is in opposition.
Yes.
Someone who has fellowship, who has an organized...
Who has the personality.
Who has the personality. So that's my fear for 2019. What will the opposition do? Because if they would do something, they would have started now.
What's shocking to me is that there's a lot of upheaval in the social media, but social media does not carry weight if people don't take action. So you agree with me, or you are saying, Mr. B, that the credible alternative is what worries you?
Oh yes.
And Buhari might
feel the vacuum in the absence of an alternative.
Well, that's scary. That's the deal.
But that's a reality that may happen.
But if Nigerians if they really want the best for themselves, you have a president that took him 6 good months before he can appoint ministers, and most of the things that are happening in Nigeria, you didn't see him coming out to even speak about it, and you want to repeat him again because there is no alternative.
Who would they vote for?
They vote for. That's what Mr. B said.
You see, there are people with credibility that will come out. Let them list all kind of what do you call it? I mean, look at Fashola. When Fashola was Lagos State Governor, he was performing, isn't it? But the moment he joined the administration of Buhari now, he couldn't do anything.
Okay, so we will come back to that later because this is a slow-moving train. who is in a flux. We will still come back to discuss this issue, whether there's a credible alternative to President Muhammadu Buhari, given the massive opposition against him because of non-performance, because of the religious killing, religious-inspired killing in Nigeria, and perhaps the lack of determination to curb corruption in the system. Mr. Obi, I want to thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you.
As usual, let me thank Mr. Baliwa for also showing up.
Thank you very much.
Viewers will be examining the fight between President Muhammadu Buhari and the former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo. I guess on the political turf, who is the bigger fish and who is going to lead Nigeria to the next dispensation? Well, Mr. B is of the opinion that there is no credible alternative, and I tend to agree with that. It's left for you here to judge. We'll give you line-by-line details of what happens in the next few months to come. I'm yours sincerely, Joe Ehizile, on Political Arena. Keep tuning into Platform Media International. Meet us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.